You have this incredible like 500-day streak on your favorite language app,
Oh, yeah, a huge streak.
right? And you can just perfectly match all those little cartoon words to the pictures on your phone. You feel totally unstoppable.
Yep, you feel like you've mastered it.
Exactly. But then the absolute second you step off a plane in let's say Paris or Tokyo,
Right.
and a local asks you just really basic everyday question, your brain just completely freezes.
Oh, totally. Complete shutdown.
Yeah, like you just stand there, mouth open, and suddenly you feel like you've literally never learned a single word. So, welcome to today's deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
We have a really fascinating stack of research notes and cognitive science papers today.
Yeah.
And they are all focused on this exact phenomena.
It's a very common experience.
Yeah, and our mission today is to, well, discover the ultimate scientifically proven shortcut to real spoken fluency. And basically figure out why so many of us get completely stuck in this, what the research calls the streak illusion.
Right, the streak illusion. And, that freeze you talked about on
Yeah.
the street, that is a very real psychological hurdle.
I mean, it feels real. My heart rate definitely goes up.
Yeah, exactly. And to understand why it happens, we have to look under the hood at how the human brain actually stores information. Because what most casual language learners simply do not realize is that our brains, they actually have two completely separate filing cabinets for language.
Wait, two separate cabinets?
Yeah, completely separate.
Yeah.
One is called the declarative memory system, and the other is the procedural memory system.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit. Declarative and procedural. I mean, what do those actually mean in plain English?
Right.
Because right now, my brain just feels like one big messy drawer.
Right, right. Well, think of declarative memory as your fact cabinet.
Fact cabinet, okay.
Yeah, this is conscious, deliberate knowledge. It's where you store vocabulary translations, grammar rules, historical dates, all of it.
Oh, I see.
So when you're sitting on the couch, tapping matching words on a gamified app, you have all the time in the world to search that cabinet, right?
Yeah, exactly. I can just sit there and think about it.
Right. You are relying almost entirely on that declarative system. It's slow, it's conscious, and it requires focus.
Which totally explains why I can, ace a quiz on my phone. Because I have the luxury of stopping and just thinking and searching my mental files for the answer.
Exactly. But real life, it doesn't pause for you to search your files.
Right. The waiter in Paris is not going to wait 5 minutes for me to conjugate a verb.
No, they are not. When you're in a live, spontaneous conversation on the street, you do not have time to consciously open that fact cabinet, search for the right verb conjugation, and, carefully apply a rule.
That makes sense.
Your brain has to execute speech as a reflex, almost like a physical instinct.
Oh, wow.
And that instant reflex is governed entirely by your procedural memory, which we can just call your action cabinet.
Action cabinet, okay. So declarative is facts, procedural is action.
Exactly. And true language acquisition is simply the act of moving knowledge out of that slow fact cabinet and into the fast action cabinet.
So is this basically like knowing all the individual parts of a bicycle? Like the pedals, the chain, the handlebars, which would be your declarative memory.
Right.
Versus actually knowing how to balance and, ride it down the street without falling over, which is your procedural memory.
That is a perfect analogy. You can read, 100 books on the physics of a bicycle.
Right.
You can memorize every gear ratio. And the very first time you get on one, you will still fall over.
Yeah, because my body doesn't know what to do.
Exactly. Knowing the facts does not mean you have built the physical reflex.
Man, that makes an uncomfortable amount of sense.
Yeah.
But so if our ultimate goal here is to make that shift, to take the rules from the textbook and turn them into, automatic reflexes, how do we actually do that? Because I spend a lot of time studying the rules and highlighting things, making notes, and it just doesn't seem to stop the brain freeze when I actually try to speak.
Right. And this brings us to a massive historical debate in the science of language learning.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Back in the 1980s, there was a very famous theory by a researcher named Stephen Krashen. And he proposed that explicitly studying grammar rules actually hurts your ability to speak.
Wait, learning the rules hurts you?
According to him, yes. He argued that explicitly studying rules builds something called a monitor in your brain.
A monitor. Like a hall monitor at school walking around with a clipboard.
Yeah, pretty much. An internal editor that constantly, inspects your sentences to correct any errors before you actually speak them out loud.
Oh, wow.
The problem is, this internal editor can only do its job if you have three things. You need plenty of time, a deep desire to be perfectly correct, and you need the rule perfectly memorized.
Okay.
In a rapid real-life conversation, you never have enough time for the editor to finish checking the work.
Oh my gosh, I am 100% a monitor overuser.
You think so?
Oh, absolutely. I will literally stand in front of a waiter at a restaurant, frantically trying to, like, calculate verb rules in my head like I'm solving advanced algebra or something.
Right.
And the waiter's just staring at me holding a notepad.
Right.
And I end up completely paralyzed because my internal editor just won't let me speak until the sentence is flawless.
Yeah.
So I usually just end up pointing at the menu and saying, please.
Yeah, because you are trying to use conscious facts for a task that requires unconscious reflexes. Your internal editor is crashing your system.
Crashing the system. Yeah, that's exactly what it feels like.
But what's fascinating here is that modern cognitive science has actually updated this older theory.
Okay, so crashing wasn't totally right.
Right. We no longer believe that studying rules is completely useless. A modern researcher, Robert de Keyser, pushed forward the idea that language is just a complex skill, exactly like driving a car.
Okay, driving a car.
Yeah. Think about when you first learn to drive. You have to consciously think about the mirrors, the pressure on the gas pedal, the position of the steering wheel.
Oh, yeah, it's terrifying at first. You're hyper aware of everything.
Exactly. But with practice, it becomes completely automatic. You drive all the way to work and you don't even remember doing it.
Right. My brain automates the driving process so I can, think about what I'm having for lunch or something.
Exactly.
But how do researchers actually prove that this exact automation happens with something as complex as human language? I mean, language feels a lot messier than driving a car.
It is, but the proof is actually in a 2025 study from our sources today. It's often called the Mini Nihongo study.
Mini Nihongo.
Yes. And for the first time ever, scientists proved the exact mathematical formula for how the brain automates a language rule.
Oh, wow. A mathematical formula.
Yeah. Now, to do this, they couldn't just use a normal language like Spanish or French because, well, people might already know some words.
Right, they would mess up the data.
Exactly. They had to create a total blank slate. So they had participants learn a miniature, completely made-up language.
Well, it's clever.
And then they tracked exactly how long it took for the participants' brains to stop struggling with a grammar rule and start acting on pure reflex.
I love when we get hard numbers on this stuff in a deep dive.
Yeah.
What was the actual math? Like, how long does that transition take?
It takes exactly 18 practice tries to initially grasp and proceduralize a rule to get it out of the fact cabinet.
Okay, 18 tries. That doesn't sound too bad.
But then it takes exactly 165 more practice tries to make it completely effortlessly automatic.
Wait, hold on. 165 repetitions.
165.
That sounds miserable. I mean, how are we supposed to get that much practice in the real world? Like doing flashcards 165 times for every single verb, conjugation, or vocabulary word.
Right, yeah.
No one with a full-time job is going to do that without losing their mind.
No, definitely not. Sitting there flipping rote flashcards 165 times would be torturous. And thankfully, that is not how we are supposed to get those repetitions.
Oh, thank goodness. So how do we get them?
We get them naturally through what researchers call comprehensible input.
Comprehensible input.
Yeah. This simply means listening to and reading the language in context. So if you read a short story or listen to a podcast, you are naturally going to hear the same common words and grammar structures hundreds of times without even trying.
Oh, I see. So you just kind of absorb it.
Exactly. You hit that 165 number very quickly. But there is a massive catch regarding exactly what kind of material you should be listening to.
Okay, let's test this catch.
Okay.
So if I want to learn Spanish, right, and I turn on a highly dramatic Spanish soap opera, people are shouting, there's a lot of drama going on.
Sure.
And I only understand about, let's say, 50% of the words they're saying. Am I still learning? Like, is my brain soaking it in from the context of the drama?
The hard truth from the research is no. No. 50% comprehension is just background noise to your brain. To actually learn and acquire new language from context, you must already understand 95 to 98% of the words you are hearing or reading.
Wait, 95%?
95 to 98.
That seems ridiculously high. I mean, if I already know 95% of the story, why am I even listening? Like, what is there left to learn?
Well, it comes down to your brain's available energy, or what we call cognitive bandwidth.
Okay.
Think of your working memory like a tiny desk. If you are listening to something where you don't know 20% of the words, your brain uses every single ounce of its energy just trying to survive and guess the basic big picture meaning of the story.
Right.
Your tiny desk is cluttered with panic, confusion, and guesswork. There is absolutely no energy left over to notice a new grammar structure or figure out the nuance of a new vocabulary word.
So my brain is just kind of treading water, trying not to drown in all the unknown words.
Exactly. But when you already know 95% of the words, your brain relaxes. You easily understand the plot of the story.
Right, because I'm following along just fine.
Exactly. Your tiny desk is clean and organized. Because you are relaxed, your brain has plenty of leftover energy to notice that remaining 5% of unknown words. And it effortlessly absorbs them from the context without you even feeling like you are studying.
Here's where it gets really interesting. So basically, trying to learn from a really difficult advanced podcast where I only know half the words is like uh, trying to solve a complicated jigsaw puzzle while a fire alarm's going off in the room.
That is a brilliant way to put it. And the scientific literature actually has a name for that fire alarm. It's called the affective filter.
Affective filter.
Yes. When we are anxious, stressed, or confused by a material that is too hard, the brain literally goes into survival mode. It actively shuts down its language learning center.
Wow, it just shuts them down entirely.
It does. This is why you can't learn well when you are frustrated or put on the spot. Feeling safe, relaxed, and confident with material you mostly understand is not just a nice bonus. It is a strict biological requirement for your brain to build those neural pathways.
That completely flips how I view struggling through hard material. Like we usually think, no pain, no gain.
Right.
But here, the pain is actually counterproductive.
Very counterproductive.
Okay, so if feeling safe and listening to easy stuff where we understand 95% is the key to getting those 165 repetitions, why are there people who move to a foreign country, live there for 10 years, hear the language constantly, but still speak with terrible, broken grammar?
That is a great question.
I mean, if just listening to input is everything, shouldn't they be perfectly fluent by now?
Yeah, that exact paradox baffled researchers for years, and it was heavily highlighted by the famous Canadian-French immersion programs from our sources.
Oh, right, the Canadian study.
Right. So in Canada, researchers studied programs where English-speaking kids were taught their normal school subjects, like history, math, and science, entirely in French for years.
Well, just total immersion.
Yeah, total immersion. They received thousands of hours of this comprehensible input. But when researchers tested them years later, the kids made constant, massive grammatical errors when they tried to actually speak.
How is that possible? I
Yeah.
mean, they were sitting in a classroom hearing French all day, every day.
Because they were never forced to carefully build their own sentences. When you are just listening, you are kind of just skating on context.
Getting on context.
Yeah. Imagine being a kid in that class, right? If a teacher points at a large map on the wall and says a French sentence, you don't need to understand every single grammar rule to know she's talking about geography.
Right.
You just guess based on the visual situation. Your brain takes the lazy route. But speaking is completely different. Speaking forces you to actually write the code in your brain from scratch.
Yeah, I get it. So listening is like watching someone else bake a cake.
Yeah.
You get the gist of it.
Right.
But speaking is being told to go into the kitchen, find the ingredients, and bake it yourself without a recipe.
Yeah.
Like you actually have to know the exact measurements.
Exactly. And the data on this is incredible. When two people are talking and a misunderstanding happens, say you use the wrong word and the listener looks confused, you have to stop and fix the mistake together in real time to understand each other.
Right, which can be super awkward.
It is awkward. But when learners are forced to negotiate the meaning like that and fix their own errors on the fly, they remember the correct words a week later with a staggering 79% accuracy rate.
Wow. 79% retention just from having to fix a mistake in a real conversation.
Yes, just from that active struggle.
But I have a real problem with this step, honestly.
What's that?
I understand that I need to speak to build the sentences in my brain. But when I try to speak a new language, my jaw, my tongue, my lips, they literally feel stiff and awkward.
Oh, the physical stiffness. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I stumble over the syllables because my mouth just isn't used to making those specific physical shapes. So how do I fix the physical awkwardness so I can actually have those conversations without sounding foolish?
Overcoming that physical stiffness requires a specific technique called shadowing.
Shadowing. Okay, what is that?
Shadowing is simply the act of listening to a native speaker's audio and repeating what they say out loud instantly with almost no delay.
Wait, just immediately talking over them, like an echo.
Like an immediate echo, yeah. And if we connect this to the bigger picture of brain anatomy, the reason this works becomes very clear.
Okay, let's hear the anatomy.
There is a specific physical pathway in your brain called the dorsal stream. It is essentially a high-speed neural highway that connects your auditory cortex, your ears, directly to the motor cortex that controls the muscles in your mouth and jaw.
Oh, wow. So they are physically linked.
Yes. When you do shadowing, you are giving this ear-to-mouth highway a high-intensity physical workout. You are training the muscles and the brain at the exact same time, turning the physical act of speech into an automatic reflex.
So it's literal muscle memory for your face and throat.
Exactly. Muscle memory.
Well, if shadowing builds this highway and active speaking fixes our mistakes, why don't the most popular language apps just have us do that?
That is the million-dollar question.
Right. Which brings us to the real world. We know the science now, but how does the listener actually apply this when we just have, our smartphones, a crazy schedule, and very little free time?
Let's look at the current app landscape detailed in the research. Most people naturally start with Duolingo.
Oh, yeah, the owl.
Right. And it is fantastic for building a daily habit and keeping you engaged. But scientifically, it is very poor for spoken fluency.
Because it's too much declarative memory.
Partly, but mostly because it relies heavily on passive guessing, matching words to pictures, rather than forcing you to build sentences from scratch.
Right. Yeah.
Then you have Anki, which is a digital flashcard app. It is incredibly powerful for memory retention, but the friction is too high. It takes hours to set up your own custom decks.
Oh, yeah, if I have to spend an hour configuring digital flashcards after a long day of work, I'm just going to give up and watch TV instead.
Yeah.
The setup time totally kills the motivation.
Completely. Which is why the modern, scientifically aligned solutions mentioned in our sources are tools like Talhammer and Kachika.
Talhammer and Kachika. Okay.
Yeah. Talhammer is unique because it forces you to type out and rebuild whole sentences from memory, which gives you that crucial active output we talked about, rather than just guessing.
Okay, so it forces you to bake the cake.
Exactly. And Kachika uses AI to instantly make flashcards from photos.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, you just take a picture of a menu or a street sign in the real world, and the AI builds a targeted lesson for you instantly, removing all that setup friction.
But wait, even with the best apps, we still need a structured plan, right?
Right.
If you had to build the ultimate scientifically proven daily routine like, let's call it the 2026 optimal stack, how do we fit this into a normal day? Let's say I only have 40 minutes a day to dedicate to this. Does this whole system fall apart, or can we adapt it?
Actually, 40 minutes is the perfect amount of time if you divide it based on the brain's requirements.
Really? Okay, I'm taking notes.
Here is the blueprint for that daily stack. First, you spend 10 minutes doing active reconstruction.
So this is where we use an app like Talhammer.
Yes. You use those 10 minutes to type out and rebuild full, complete sentences from memory. Do not just guess single vocabulary words. Force your brain to write the whole code, including the grammar, from scratch.
Okay, so this gets you out of the passive context skating we saw in the Canadian Immersion kids?
Exactly.
Got it. 10 minutes of heavy lifting. What's next?
Second, you spend 15 minutes on easy, comprehensible input. Read a short story or listen to a podcast where you already know 95% of the words.
Just 15 minutes of relaxing input.
Let your brain relax, keep the tiny desk clean, avoid the effective filter, and let your brain absorb the remaining 5% safely from context.
That sounds like a really nice break after the sentence building.
It is.
And the last step.
Third, spend 10 minutes on shadowing. Listen to native audio and echo it out loud instantly to build that ear-to-mouth highway in the dorsal stream.
Right, muscle memory.
But a crucial rule here, cap it at a maximum of 5 repetitions per audio clip.
Wait, why cap it at 5? If repetition is good, shouldn't I shadow the same sentence like 20 times?
Because your brain will get fatigued and stop paying attention to the phonetic details. You will just be mindlessly parroting the sounds without actively mapping them. 5 repetitions keeps the brain engaged.
Oh, I see.
So that covers your 35 minutes of daily solo work.
Wait, 10 minutes building, 15 minutes listening, 10 minutes shadowing?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's 35 minutes. What about the other 5?
Those 5 minutes, you save them up for the final requirement.
Will we bank them?
You bank them. Once a week, you must do a 30-minute real live conversation. You have to put yourself in a situation where you are forced to make mistakes, get misunderstood, and negotiate the meaning in real time with another person.
Ah, the 79% rule.
Exactly. That struggle is what locks the memory in at that 79% rate we discussed earlier.
So what does this all mean? It means we can stop feeling guilty about losing our random app streaks, right?
Absolutely.
It means that by shifting our focus from memorizing facts to building physical reflexes and just following this targeted 40-minute routine, we can collapse what usually takes years of frustrating, paralyzed app tapping into just a few months of real, confident fluency.
The cognitive science is very clear on this. The brain is perfectly capable of automating these rules as long as we stop treating language like a history test and start treating it like a physical skill.
Man, this has been incredibly eye-opening. Thank you for walking us through these studies. It's so reassuring to know that our brains are, like, quite literally built to do this naturally. We just needed the proper instruction manual.
This raises an important question, though, and it's something I've been pondering outside of our notes today.
Oh,
Yeah, if language is ultimately just a physical reflex, a set of automated if-then neural pathways hard-coded into the brain's procedural memory. Right.
how close are we to a future where brain-computer interfaces could simply trigger these neural pathways for us artificially?
Oh, wow.
Like, will we one day be able to just download a language directly into our action cabinet, completely bypassing the 165 repetitions and the learning phase entirely? It's just something to think about while you do your 10 minutes of shadowing today.
Whoa. Downloading a language straight into the motor cortex like a software update. Now, that is a wild thought to leave off on. But until the sci-fi future gets here, we've got our 40-minute stack to rely on.
That's right.
So the next time you find yourself with a 500-day app streak, standing frozen on the streets of Paris or Tokyo with a waiter staring at you, remember, you don't need to try harder to memorize the facts. You just need to step out of the fact cabinet and start building the reflexes. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and we'll catch you next time.